The sun was setting, and the small town park was almost empty. Birds flew slowly across the orange sky, and cold wind touched the dry trees. On a lonely bench an old man sat quietly, looking at the ground. His name was Mr. Harris. He wore an old brown coat and held a wooden cane. His hands were shaking, and his shoes were torn. People walked past him without even looking. To them, he was just another poor, useless man. Mr. Harris looked tired, but his eyes still had a fire inside them, a fire most people couldn't see. Across the park, 3 young men stood together, laughing loudly. They were known troublemakers. In the area, their names were Jay, Rico, and Tanner. They saw the old man sitting alone. "Look at that old fool." Jay laughed, probably waiting for someone to feed him. Rico smirked. Or maybe he forgot where he lives. Old people are just garbage now. They walked toward Mr. Harris. "Hey, Grandpa," Jay said, kicking Mr. Harris's cane. "You lost or just trying to die here?" Mr. Harris didn't say anything. He looked up slowly, then down again. His silence made them more aggressive. "Did you hear me, old man?" Rico said, pushing his shoulder. Still, Mr. Harris didn't speak. Tanner grabbed the small sandwich Mr. Harris had been holding and threw it on the ground. "Eat that now." He laughed. The sandwich fell near Mr. Harris's feet. He didn't move. A single tear rolled down his cheek. "Man, this guy's totally broken," Jay said. But then, Rico noticed something. "Hey, what's that tattoo on your hand?" he asked, grabbing Mr. Harris's wrist. It was a small black symbol, an eagle, with 2 swords crossed under it. "Looks like some army stuff," Tanner said. "Theft, whatever, he's probably lying. Some old men make up war stories for attention." Jay laughed. They left, still laughing, walking toward their bikes. As they disappeared into the distance, Mr. Harris looked at the tattoo on his hand and whispered, "They think I'm weak. They have no idea." That night, Jay rode his bike home through a quiet street. It was dark, and streetlights flickered. Suddenly he felt like someone was watching him. He stopped and looked behind. No one was there. He reached home and went inside, but something was wrong. On his bed was a small black box. No name, no message. He opened it. Inside was an old photograph of Mr. Harris, but he wasn't alone. Next to him stood a tall, strong man, in full military uniform, face painted in camo, guns across his chest. "Eyes cold, dangerous." On the back of the photo, one line was written, "You hurt the wrong man's blood." Jay's face turned white. Back at the park, Mr. Harris sat again the next day. The same bench, the same quietness, but his eyes looked far away, as if he was remembering something years ago. He saw his son Leon standing at the airport, hugging him for the last time. Leon wore a black uniform with no name, just the Delta Force patch on the arm. "Dad," he had said, "no, whatever where I am. If anyone ever touches you, I'll know." Mr. Harris had smiled. "I'll be fine, son. I just want you to stay alive." Leon had smiled back. "You saved my life. Now I live to protect yours." Then Leon had left. That was 10 years ago. In a dark room somewhere far away, a phone buzzed. Captain Leon Harris opened it. A message popped up. "Unknown number. Your father was attacked. 3 boys, no police help." Leon stared at the screen for a long time, then slowly walked to his locker. He opened a metal case labeled "Classified Delta UN items." Were only a few items: black gloves, a folded uniform, a photo of his parents, and a locked weapon. He picked up the photo. His mother had passed. His father, hurt. Leon's jaw clenched. He whispered, "I gave you my word, Dad. Now I'm coming home." Back in the town, Tanner sat at a diner with the other boys. "I got this creepy note last night," Jay said. "What kind of note?" Tanner asked. Jay pulled out the photo and showed them. Rico stared at it. "Bro, that guy, with Mr. Harris, that's his son." Jay nodded. Tanner laughed nervously. "So what? He's probably just some army dude." Rico shook his head. "No. That patch on his chest, that's Delta Force." All 3 went quiet. "What the hell is Delta Force?" Jay asked. Rico's face turned pale. "Only the most dangerous soldiers in the world. They don't even exist. Officially, if he's Delta, we're already in trouble." They looked at each other, fear starting to grow. Meanwhile, Leon walked through the airport in plain clothes. No one noticed him, but behind his calm walk was a deadly man on a mission. He looked at the town sign as he arrived. "Welcome to Belridge, a peaceful place to call home," he muttered. "Not anymore." Back at the park, Mr. Harris sat quietly again. A small smile appeared on his face. For the first time in years, he didn't feel alone. He looked at the sky and whispered, "They think I'm just an old man. But my son is the storm." The morning air was cold, and fog covered the small town of Belridge. In a quiet street, a taxi stopped in front of an old house. Leon Harris stepped out. He wore a black jacket, jeans, and sunglasses. He didn't look like a soldier, but behind those calm eyes was a man trained to fight, kill, and disappear. He looked at the house. Paint was coming off the walls. The gate was rusted, and the yard was dry. His father lived here, alone. Leon walked to the door and knocked. It opened slowly. Mr. Harris stood there, surprised, and then smiled. "Leon," he whispered. Leon hugged him tight. "You look tired, Dad," Leon said softly, "and you look dangerous." Mr. Harris smiled back inside the house. Things were quiet. Old furniture, family pictures, and war medals were kept in a small box. Leon sat down at the table. He looked at his father's bruised arm and the cut near his eyebrow. "Why didn't you tell me?" he asked. Mr. Harris shook his head. "You have your own battles, son. I didn't want to bring you into mine." Leon's face became serious. "I told you before, if anyone ever touched you, I'd come." His father placed a hand on his head. "No, that's why I didn't tell you, because I knew you would." Leon didn't smile. "Who were they?" he asked. Mr. Harris sighed. "Just 3 local boys, Jay, Rico, and Tanner. Kids with anger, no direction." Leon's eyes became cold. "They picked the wrong man." Flashback: military base, Afghanistan. Bullets flew through the air. Smoke, fire, and screams filled the desert. Captain Leon Harris moved like a ghost through enemy fire. Fast, silent, deadly. He was part of a team called Phantom Strike, Delta Force's most feared unit. He once saved 5 soldiers from a burning vehicle. Another time he walked 2 days through a minefield to bring back a hostage. Enemy fighters had a name for him. In whispers, the Shadow Wolf. Back in Belridge, Leon stood near the park. He watched from behind a tree as Jay and his friends laughed together again. They had no fear, no guilt, but that would change soon. Leon made a call. "Secure line. This is Wolf 1. I need intel on 3 civilians. Send it now." Later that night, in his motel room, Leon opened a laptop. Files appeared on the screen. Jay Thompson arrested twice for theft, expelled from school. Rico Burns' mother in rehab, father unknown. Tanner Mills, 2 assault charges. Cleared. Leon read everything. Photos, addresses, habits, school records. He now knew more about them than they knew about themselves. He smiled coldly. Weak targets but loud. Time to teach them silence. Meanwhile, Rico walked down the street alone. He kept looking back. It felt like someone was following him. His phone buzzed. No name, just a message. "You laughed at the wrong man." He stopped. His heart started beating fast. Another message came. "You sleep easy, but that ends tonight." He ran home, shaking. At the same time, Tanner reached his car in the parking lot. There was a small box on his windshield. He looked around. No one. He opened it. Inside was a bullet. Just one, and under it, a note. "This is not a warning. This is a memory." He dropped it and drove off, terrified. Jay was at home watching TV when the lights went out. The TV screen turned black, then suddenly turned back on but showed a video. It was him, pushing Mr. Harris in the park. The video zoomed in, his own face smiling. A voice came through the speaker. "What if someone did this to your father?" Jay screamed and unplugged the TV. Back at Mr. Harris's house, Leon sat by the window. His father brought him tea. "You went after them, didn't you?" Mr. Harris asked. Leon didn't answer. Mr. Harris sighed. "You can fight 100 wars, son, but what about the war inside you?" Leon looked away. "That war never ends, Dad." His father sat down. "You don't have to become a monster to fight one." Leon's voice was calm. "I'm not here to fight monsters. I'm here to remind them monsters exist." The next morning, the 3 boys sat in the diner, all pale and quiet. Jay said, "Something's happening. Someone's messing with us." Tanner whispered, "I think it's him, the soldier, Mr. Harris's son." Rico nodded slowly. "We're dead." Just then, a man entered the diner. Black jacket, sunglasses. Walkie sat near the window. Said nothing, but they knew it was him. He didn't even look at them. Just sipped his coffee, but that was enough. The fear had begun. Back in the motel, Leon called someone. Mission step 1 complete. Fear is in place. Step 2 begins tomorrow. He looked at a photo of his father. "You gave me everything, now I give you peace." As night came, Mr. Harris sat at the park again, but this time he wasn't alone. People greeted him, sat near him. Someone brought him food. That respect was coming back. He looked up at the stars and whispered, "Thank you, son." But in the darkness, someone else was watching, someone who didn't want peace. The sun rose slowly over Belridge. Birds chirped, streets came alive, and people went on with their normal lives. But for Leon Harris, nothing was normal. He stood on the roof of his motel looking over the town. His eyes scanned every street, every corner. He was calm, but inside, a storm was building. In his hands, he held 3 small papers. Each had a name. Jay Thompson, Rico Burns, Tanner Mills. Leon folded the papers, put them back into his coat pocket, and whispered, "Time to finish what they started." Meanwhile, in the heart of Belridge, the 3 boys were not laughing anymore. Jay sat on his bed, eyes wide open, phone in hand. He hadn't slept all night. Tanner checked his car 3 times before driving. He locked the doors, looked over his shoulder at every turn. Rico kept the lights on even during the day. His hands were shaking. His mother asked if something was wrong, but he didn't answer. Fear had crawled inside them, and it wasn't going away. Back at Mr. Harris's house, Leon cleaned the kitchen quietly while his father sat near the window. "Son," Mr. Harris said, "you don't have to do this." Leon didn't answer. "You're not that man anymore," Mr. Harris said again. Leon looked up, eyes calm. "I was trained to find weakness, Dad, and what they did to you, that was weakness." His father replied, "Forgiveness is strength too." Leon smiled a little. I'm not here for revenge. I'm here for understanding. That afternoon, Leon visited the local school library. He didn't speak much, just listened hard. He learned where the boys studied, where they hung out, even who their girlfriends were. He moved like a shadow, quiet, invisible, but watching everything that night. Leon left 3 small envelopes in 3 different places. 1 under Jay's pillow, 1 inside Rico's school locker, 1 taped to Tanner's car mirror. Each envelope had only one thing inside: a photo of Mr. Harris, bruised, a sentence: "This man raised me." "What raised you?" Later, Jay ran to Rico's house. He was pale, sweating. "I'm telling you, man, he's watching us. He knows everything." Rico nodded. "I got the same photo. We have to do something." Tanner arrived a few minutes later. "We could go to the police," he said. Jay shook his head. "And say what? That a soldier is scaring us. We'll sound like cowards." Then Rico said something that made them all go silent. "What if we just apologize?" The room went quiet. Jay looked away. "Apologize to some old guy? After all this," Tanner said, "maybe it's not about him anymore. Maybe it's about his son." Elsewhere that night, Leon sat alone in the woods near the town border. He had lit a small fire. In front of him was an old photo of his family when life was simple. His mother holding a cake, his father laughing, himself as a young boy wearing a toy soldier hat. He stared at the photo for a long time. Then, voice behind him, "You still keep that?" Mr. Harris asked, walking up slowly. Leon smiled without looking back. "It's the only part of me that's real." His father sat beside him. "You're not a machine, Leon. You feel more than you show." Leon replied, "Feeling doesn't win wars, Dad." Mr. Harris shook his head. "But it saves people." The next day, the 3 boys stood outside Mr. Harris's house. They were scared, nervous. Jay knocked on the door. Leon opened it. He didn't smile, didn't speak. The 3 boys stood still like statues. Jay finally said, "We're sorry for what we did. It wasn't right." Rico added, "We were stupid. We didn't know who he was, but it doesn't matter. No one deserves that." Tanner said softly, "We're ready to make it right." Leon looked at all 3, then stepped aside. "Come in." Inside, Mr. Harris sat in the living room. His face was calm, but his eyes were wet. Jay spoke first. "Sir, we're truly sorry for hurting you, for not seeing the man you are." Rico nodded. "We didn't respect you, but now we do." Mr. Harris smiled gently. "Sometimes, life teaches us in hard ways." He stood up, walked over and shook their hands. "No one is born evil, but everyone must choose every day what kind of person they want to be." Tanner looked down. "We want to be better." Leon stood quietly in the corner, arms crossed, watching. He didn't say anything, but inside, something in him felt lighter. As the boys left, Mr. Harris turned to Leon. "You gave them a chance to become better men," he said. Leon finally. It smiled. "Maybe I gave myself a chance to." But just as peace started to return, Leon's phone buzzed. "A blocked number," he answered. A voice said only one sentence: "You left something unfinished. And now it's coming for you." The call ended. Leon's smile disappeared. The storm wasn't over. It was just beginning. Rain hit the ground hard. That night in Belridge, thunder cracked above the rooftops. Leon Harris sat alone in his motel room, the phone still in his hand. The call had ended, but the voice stayed in his mind. "You left something unfinished. And now it's coming for you." He looked out the window. He had returned to protect his father, to teach 3 boys a lesson. But now someone from his past was watching him. Flashback years ago. Secret mission. Leon's team moved through enemy territory. Their mission: eliminate a high-value target, codename Cobra, a rogue American-trained soldier who had gone dark. Cobra was smart, deadly. He once trained alongside Leon. But something changed in him. Leon found him, but didn't kill him. He let Cobra live after a brutal fight, and walked away, thinking the man would disappear forever. But now, that man was back. Present-day Belridge at the edge of town. Inside an old warehouse, a man stood in the dark. He had scars on his face and a cold smile. Cobra. He looked at a photo of Leon and Mr. Harris, then crumpled it in his fist. "I trained beside the best," he whispered. "Now I will break him." Meanwhile, Jay, Rico, and Tanner were trying to change. They helped Mr. Harris clean his yard. They sat with him, listened to his stories. They called him Sir. The town noticed. People began to talk. Those boys changed. Someone said. Mr. Harris smiled. Forgiveness was growing, but Leon didn't smile. He knew peace doesn't last forever. That night, Tanner found something on his doorstep, a red envelope. Inside, a piece of torn military dog tag. Jay got a dead bird in his mailbox. Rico received a photo of himself sleeping. Someone was watching them now. Leon saw the signs. This wasn't teenage bullying anymore. This was war tactics. Leon met with the boys in secret. "This isn't over," he said. "You're being hunted now." "Someone from my past?" Jay asked. "Why us?" Leon looked him in the eyes. "Because you're connected to me now. You touched my father, now someone wants to touch you." Tanner was scared. "What do we do?" Leon handed them 3 burner phones. "If anything happens, call me, and never be alone." Back in his motel, Leon opened his secret case. Inside, gloves, headset, knife, encrypted tablet. and a suppressed pistol. He placed everything on the table, one by one. He wasn't just a son anymore, he was now a soldier on alert. Next morning, town square, a car exploded in the parking lot. No one was inside, but the message was clear. People screamed. Police arrived. Leon watched from a rooftop and saw him. Cobra. Same smirk, same stare. Leon whispered, "You shouldn't have come here." Nightfall. Abandoned factory. Leon tracked Cobra to an old building. He moved like a ghost, silent and fast. Inside he found maps, photos and notes, all about Mr. Harris, Leon's past missions and the three boys. This wasn't personal anymore. This was a plan. Cobra wanted to destroy Leon's world, one piece at a time. Suddenly, Leon heard footsteps. He turned fast. Cobra stood there smiling. Well, he said. The great Leon Harris returns home and brings ghosts with him. Leon didn't smile. You should have stayed in the shadows, Leon said coldly. I came back for closure, Cobra replied, but not mine, yours. A fight broke out. Fist against fist. Combat against combat. Years of training, pain, and rage exploded between them. But Cobra wasn't just here to fight. He dropped a smoke bomb and vanished. Leon coughed, eyes burning, and then saw it. A small timer on the wall boomed at half. The building went up in flames. Leon escaped just in time, but the message was clear. This wasn't a warning. This was war. Next day, Mr. Harris's house. Leon sat beside his father. It's not safe here anymore, he said. Mr. Harris asked, what's happening? Leon replied, someone from my past is trying to finish what I didn't, and he's using you as bait. Mr. Harris stayed calm. Then finish it, son. Leon nodded. That evening, Rico's phone buzzed. A message: tonight, you die first. Rico panicked and called Leon. Within minutes, Leon arrived, but Rico was gone. The back door was open. A struggle, blood on the floor. Leon's hands clenched. Cobra took him. Ending scene. Rico wakes up tied to a chair. Cobra walks around him, slow and calm. Your friend, Leon, once spared me. That was his biggest mistake. Rico struggles. Cobra smiles. And you are going to scream so loud, he'll hear you from across the town. Darkness. Dark clouds filled the sky. Thunder roared in the distance. It felt like something terrible was coming. Inside an old garage on the edge of town, Rico sat tied to a chair. His face was bruised, and blood trickled from his lip. Across from him, Cobra stood quietly, cleaning a knife. You're brave, Cobra said, but not smart. Rico coughed. Leon's coming for you. Cobra smiled. That's the point. Meanwhile, Leon Harris stood outside the same garage, his hands gripping his radio. He had tracked Rico's phone signal here. Beside him were Jay and Tanner. Both scared but ready. Leon looked at them. This isn't your fight anymore, he said. Jay replied. He took Rico. That makes it our fight too. Leon nodded once. Stay close, stay quiet. If I say run, you run. They entered the garage through the back. The air was cold. Silent, too silent inside. Cobra waited. He heard the soft steps. He smiled. Leon found Rico tied up. He ran to him, but the moment he touched the ropes, a trap triggered. A steel gate dropped behind him, separating Leon from Jay and Tanner. Cobra appeared from the shadows, clapping slowly. Bravo, he said, just like old times. Leon stood, eyes locked on his enemy. Let the boy go, he growled. Cobra shrugged. After you answer one question, he stepped closer. Why didn't you kill me when you had the chance? Leon said nothing. You knew I was broken, dangerous, and still, you walked away. Leon finally spoke. Because I saw a piece of myself in you. Cobra's face twitched. That was your mistake. He lunged forward. The fight began. Fists flew, wood cracked, metal clashed. It wasn't just a battle, it was two pasts colliding. Rico watched helplessly, his chair rocking side to side. Jay and Tanner pounded on the steel gate. Yelling for help, Cobra slammed Leon against a wall. You were always the hero, he sneered. But heroes fall, and no one cries. Leon headbutted him, hard. Blood sprayed from Cobra's nose. I'm not here to be a hero, Leon growled. I'm here to end the war, with one final blow. Leon knocked Cobra out cold. He cut Rico free and helped him up. Jay and Tanner broke through the gate, just as Leon carried Rico out. Outside, sirens screamed in the distance. Someone had called the police. They all stood there, breathing heavily, soaked in sweat and rain. Looked at the three boys. You all came back for each other, he said. That's what men do, Tanner asked. What about Cobra? Leon glanced back. He'll be found, and this time he won't walk away. Later that night, Mr. Harris's house. Leon stood in the kitchen, washing his blood-stained hands. His father entered slowly. You all right? He asked. Leon nodded. The fight's over. Mr. Harris walked over and placed a hand on his son's shoulder. You kept your promise. You protected me. Leon turned, his eyes softer now. You protected me first, Dad. My whole life. They hugged, father and son finally at peace. Next morning, Belridge Town Hall. A small crowd had gathered. The mayor stepped up to a microphone. Sometimes heroes walk among us and we never know their names, he said. Today, we honor a man who reminded this town what courage looks like. He looked at Leon Harris. The crowd clapped. Jay, Rico, and Tanner stood proudly beside Mr. Harris. They had changed because someone had shown them how. 1 week later, quiet park bench. Mr. Harris sat with Leon, sipping tea. The park looked peaceful again. People waved at them, smiled, nodded with respect. The same place where hate had happened was now filled with healing. Mr. Harris said, "You can go back to your life now." Leon replied, "This is my life now." Mr. Harris smiled. Then Leon added, "Sometimes the battlefield isn't a desert, it's home." But as the camera pans out, one final image appears. A hand in a hospital bed, wrapped in bandages. A voice whispers, "This isn't over. Cobra lives." It was early morning in Belridge. The streets were calm, the air fresh. Birds flew across the pale sky. Life seemed normal again. But for Leon Harris, it was a new beginning. He stood near his father's front porch, holding a small duffel bag. Inside were just a few clothes, a worn photo, and one folded flag. Mr. Harris stepped outside. He looked stronger now. "No more bruises, no more fear. You heading out?" he asked. Leon nodded. "It's time." His father gave a small smile. "You changed a town, son, and 3 lost boys." Leon returned the smile. "They changed themselves. It just lit the fire." Later that day, Belridge High School auditorium. "The mayor stood on stage today," he said. "We honor not just a soldier but a son, a protector, a quiet legend." Leon stood at the back of the room watching. He didn't wear a uniform. He didn't want a spotlight, but he couldn't hide from the respect in the room. Jay, Rico, and Tanner stood proudly in the front row. They were clean, dressed well, and holding certificates of community service. All 3 had spoken at schools, telling other kids to choose kindness, not cruelty. Outside the school, people clapped as Leon walked out quietly. A little boy ran up and asked, "Are you a real soldier?" Leon knelt down and said, "A real soldier protects those who can't fight back." Then he stood and walked away. No cameras, no cheers, just purpose. Meanwhile, in a military base across the country, a general looked over Leon's file. Captain Harris disobeyed protocol, left without permission, took civilian action. One officer said. Another replied yes, but he prevented a domestic terror plot, saved lives, rebuilt a town. The general nodded slowly. "Bring him in," he said, "not for punishment, for promotion." Back in Belridge, Leon sat in the park with Mr. Harris. They watched children play. Mr. Harris asked, "So, what now?" Leon replied, "There are still battles out there, Dad, but I won't fight all of them with fists." Mr. Harris smiled. "Maybe the best fight is knowing when to put the sword down." They sat in silence, peaceful, cold, but far away. In a military hospital under heavy guard, Cobra lay in bed. His body was broken, burns across his arms, scars across his chest. A nurse entered with medicine. Cobra turned his head slowly and whispered, "Tell them I'm dead." The nurse frowned. "Why?" Cobra's eyes gleamed with a faint, wicked smile. "Because I'm not done yet." 1 year later, somewhere overseas, Leon, now in full black Delta uniform, moved silently through a crowded market. A radio crackled in his ear. "Target, moving east. Suspected contact, codename Ghost Viper." Leon didn't flinch. He whispered, "Copy. Shadow Wolf is in position." Back in Belridge, Mr. Harris watched the news at home. A reporter spoke. "Unconfirmed reports say a former Delta Force soldier stopped a high-level attack overseas. No names have been released. Some say he's a myth." Mr. Harris smiled. He looked at a framed photo of his son. "They still don't know who you are," he whispered, "and that's how legends survive." Final Sinjay, Rico, and Tanner now work at a youth center. They help other young kids who are lost, angry, or alone. They wear shirts that say, "Be the reason someone chooses kindness." A mural on the wall shows a soldier in the shadows, with a quote beneath it. "Some warriors wear armor, some wear scars, but the strongest protect in silence." The end.